This morning at around 8:12 in the morning, a teacher at the high school, a science teacher, Alfred Purcell, contacted school administration and my school resource officer who's assigned to the building to report that he found one live round of 9mm ammunition in a stairwell at the high school. At that point, my police officer and school administrators went to Mr. Purcell's location. They observed a 9mm live round on the floor. They put the school into a lockdown just as a precautionary measure, and that lockdown lasted probably about an hour. During that time, an investigation ensued. Additional police officers were dispatched to the high school to assist, and after reviewing video footage, my police officer, the school resource officer, observed Mr. Purcell standing in the hallway, in the stairwell, reach into his pocket, pull out that round of ammunition, drop it on the floor. Mr. Purcell quickly left the area, and around 10 minutes later returned to the area, at which point we observed on videotape him stand over the ammunition for a few minutes, take a picture of it with what I believe was his cell phone, and then he got onto a school-issued radio and reported that he found a live round of ammunition on the floor. Further investigation, after reviewing that evidence, he was arrested on scene, immediately secured in handcuffs, transported to police headquarters where he was booked. During that process, he admitted to discarding the ammunition on the floor, said that he brought it to school with him to prove that Southbridge High School should have metal detectors. In Massachusetts, he does not have a license to carry. In Connecticut, he does. We initially thought it was expired in Connecticut. It was not. But you can't carry ammunition in the state of Massachusetts unless you have an LTC to carry in Massachusetts. We searched his vehicle, and in the trunk we found 102 live rounds of ammunition, 20 gauge shotgun ammunition.
Now, either one of you can speak to this. There was something that happened earlier.
Sure.
Is this related? Do you think that he had planted those?
No, the issue is, what we believe all this stems from is on Tuesday at around 7:45 in the morning, my school resource officer was alerted to 7 rounds of .223 caliber ammunition, spent ammunition, fired ammunition, not dangerous. It was in a stairwell, laid out, displayed. Further investigation, we actually identified a juvenile based off video surveillance evidence. The juvenile claimed that he was walking on a former firing range that we have in our community, and he found these spent rounds of ammunition. This has absolutely nothing to do with the other. This was an incident on Tuesday, and I believe Mr. Purcell today, this is the reason for his actions. He didn't think that we felt that we dealt with that incident in the proper fashion. And what I would say is, if you think that we need metal detectors in this community, if you think there's any type of other safety issues at our schools, you should go through the appropriate channels, the police department, myself, the school administration, and we will take every effort to rectify any situations that we deem unsafe. This is certainly not the proper way to do it.
And in the report, there was also possible alcohol on his breath. Any reason to believe he was drinking during the day on the job?
Well, our officers and our detectives on scene could detect a faint odor of alcohol on his breath and his person. He was brought to during the booking process. He denied drinking any alcohol, but I believe he did consume alcohol, yes. But was he intoxicated? I don't believe so.
Any history with this man, criminal history in this?
He's not from this area, so my police department does not have any history with him.
Okay. Can we speak with you regarding the status of this teacher? And we know he's waiting to be arraigned, but any problems with this teacher in the past? How long has he been a teacher at the school?
Mr. Purcell started working with us. He was employed in August of this school year. We did do a background check. He did have reference checks. We run fingerprinting on all of our employees prior to being hired. So there was no indication that there would be a difficulty. He was disciplined earlier in this year for failure to establish a safe classroom environment, and candidly was going to be non-renewed at the end of the school year.
What is a safe class environment violation? What is that?
Monitoring student behavior to make sure that students understand rules and expectations and upholding rules and expectations in your classroom.
So we couldn't uphold a ruly classroom?
Correct. Classroom management was an issue.
And you said he was just employed in August. Do you know where he came from?
Yes. Prior to working with us, he had been employed in Connecticut. I believe it's the Putnam Academy, and prior to that, Woodstock Academy, and several other employers previous to that.
Can you just explain to us, as a school official, how disturbing this is for a teacher to have, allegedly done something as extreme as this and having live ammunition in this vehicle?
Absolutely. I have 6 children. I look through that lens every day, and to have someone who I've hired to ensure a safe environment for our children to do something like this is abhorrent and absolutely shocking, and I intend to do everything I can to ensure that the Southbridge Public Schools responds appropriately, and that we make sure our children can come to school, trust the adults that work with them, and trust that they're safe.
Any message for parents or anything else moving forward for folks?
Well, you know, the one thing I want to say and thank the Southbridge Police Department for their continued collaboration, cooperation. These events are really horrible and they're really scary, again, as a parent, horrible as an administrator as well. But what it did show today is that our system worked, that we identified a threat to our school, we were able to collaborate, we were able to protect the children, we were able to take appropriate action, and within a fairly reasonable amount of time, identify what happened and addressed it. So again, I have 6 children been through school, and I think about it from the lens of a parent. You want to know that the people who are responsible for your kids are taking action as soon as possible and doing everything they can to protect them.
Clearly, clearly what this guy did is not right. I'm not condoning that at all. Do you think there's anything to say about the fact that he felt he had to go this far to do something like that?
Well, certainly it's disturbing. It doesn't really, in my mind, demonstrate a clear pattern of logic that you would expect from an individual as learned and educated. I agree with the chief that if he wants to have a conversation about how to handle situations, that we'd be open to that. The bottom line, the best way to protect schools is know your children and be sure you're responsive to their needs. And I think as you look across our country, it's those instances, it's someone whose needs haven't been met, and then there are tragedies that follow. Much easier said than done. But again, I think what today showed is people were paying attention and they worked together quickly and they followed procedures. So in a horrible situation, it's probably the best outcome we could get.
And I guess lastly, I know the school year is ending. You mentioned that you wouldn't have been renewing his contract anyway. Is it safe to say that he is not returning for the rest of this year? Is he terminated at this point, or?
So we have to follow legal procedures, but he's absolutely barred from campus. And again, I will take every step necessary to ensure our students are safe. I have high expectations for my employees, and he has absolutely not met those expectations.
Anything like this ever happened before in the district?
In my 25 plus years of education, I've never seen this.
No.
Anything else you want to add? Either of you?
Well, if I could just add too, I mean, the safety of the kids in our community, it's paramount. It's the reason why we come here every day. And what I'll say is this person, Mr. Purcell, was vetted through the appropriate channels to be a teacher. There's nothing in any of his criminal history that would indicate that he was going to conduct this type of activity. Some things you just can't predict. And that's important. We don't just hire staff at the school. We don't let them work in this community if they're not fit or if they're dangerous to children. It's just, some things don't come up on a criminal record, and this is one of them.
I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank